let's be real for a second. Do you ever get that feeling, that little bit of worry in the back of your mind, that your single paycheck just might not be enough to really secure your future? You're not alone. It's this constant, low-level anxiety, right? That feeling that just one bad day, one unexpected event, could throw your whole world off balance. Well, let's dive into that. Today, we're going to talk about how to build a financial future that doesn't hang by the single thread of a job.
So let me ask you this, and be honest with yourself. Looking ahead to, say, 2026, how safe do you really feel in your job? I know it's a tough question, but we have to ask it. Because here's the thing, relying on just one job, well, it's becoming a riskier and riskier bet.
Take a look at this number. 255 million. That's how many full-time jobs were lost around the world in a single year, 2020. Think about that. That's 250 million people who, almost overnight, lost their main way of making a living. And this isn't some dusty old statistic from a history book. This was just a few years ago. It's a massive flashing warning sign about just how vulnerable a single paycheck really is. Okay, so that brings us to our first big idea here, the jobs losing bet. Let's break down exactly why putting all your eggs in one income basket is riskier than ever. You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. When we're at the mercy of a job, there's always that stress, right? That fear of the future, because you could lose that job at any moment. Think about it. A market downturn, a recession, your entire industry changing. Heck, it could be something as small as a new boss you just don't click with, and suddenly you're facing layoffs. It doesn't matter if you've been loyal for 2 decades or you're the star performer. When you only have one source of income, you've handed over all the control. So the real question is, how do we take that control back? Well, the answer lies in a strategy that the wealthy have understood and used for generations, and it's called passive income. Now, before you think this is some get-rich-quick fantasy, it's not. No, this is a real, tangible strategy for building a financial future that can actually weather the storm. All right, let's get super clear on what this means. On one hand, you have active income. This is what most of us are used to. It's a simple trade. You give your time, you get money back. If you stop working, guess what? The money stops too. Plain and simple. But then over here, you have passive income, and this is a game changer. This is where you disconnect your time from your money. It's about owning assets, things that work for you and make you money, even while you're sleeping. Okay, so the fancy definition is revenue from ventures in which you are not materially involved. But let's cut through the jargon. All it really means is you're not trading your hours for dollars anymore. Instead, your money or your ideas or your creations are out there working for you around the clock. That is the key, the absolute core of what financial freedom is all about. Okay, I get it. The idea sounds great, right? But you're probably thinking, where do I even start? I don't have a pile of cash just sitting around to invest. And that's the perfect question, because it leads us to the most critical and honestly, the most overlooked first step of this whole journey. It all starts right here. Not with some risky stock tip or winning the lottery. It starts with the one thing you have 100% control over right now, organizing your expenses. It's just a simple fact. You can't invest money you don't have, and you'll never find that extra money to invest until you get a handle on where it's all going. Think of it like this. Mastering your spending is the fuel. It's the very first thing you need to start the engine of wealth creation. And honestly, a great way to get that handle on things is with a tool designed for it. The Masarif App is your first step to getting that financial control before you even think about building your 7 sources of income. It helps you track everything and spot where you can save. And it's that saved money. That's the fuel we've been talking about. We've dropped a link in the description box for you. All right, so once you've started to build up a little bit of savings, it's time for the exciting part, putting that money to work. Let's walk through 3 practical, accessible ideas to build your very first passive income stream. First up is a classic. Real estate. Now, when I say that, you're probably picturing having to buy an entire apartment building, right? And you're thinking, who has that kind of money? But hold on. You can start with something called a REIT. That's a real estate investment trust. Think of it like buying a tiny slice of a huge property portfolio. You get to be a landlord and collect that rental income, but without needing a massive down payment and, more importantly, without getting those 2 a.m. calls about a leaky toilet. It's a way to get into the real estate game with just a small amount of money. Idea number 2, dividend stocks. This one's really cool. When you own a stock in a big, profitable company, they often say thank you to their shareholders by giving them a piece of the profits. That payment is called a dividend. Just look at this recent example. Chevron paid out $1.63 for every single share someone owned. Now imagine you own 100 shares, or 1,000. And not just in one company, but in dozens of them, all sending you these little checks. That is passive income, literally arriving in your account.
And our third idea is royalty income. This is for all you creative people out there. It's the create once, get paid forever model. You put in the hard work one time to write a book or create a digital course or license your awesome photographs on a stock website, maybe even build a simple mobile app. And then you get paid again and again and again. Every single time someone buys or uses your creation, your initial effort transforms into an asset that can keep generating income for years to come. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Let's boil it all down to a super simple, repeatable strategy for getting started on your own journey to wealth.
It really comes down to these 3 steps. Step 1, control your expenses. Get a firm grip on your spending and know where every single dollar is going. Step 2, build your savings. Take the money you freed up and systematically pile it up. And then, step 3, this is where the magic happens. Turn those savings into assets that make you more money. That's the whole playbook. Control, save, invest. You just repeat that cycle and your wealth can't help but grow. Look, the most important thing you can do is just start. If you're ready to start building your wealth smartly, do us a favor and hit that like button. But more importantly, drop a comment below and tell us, what's the first passive income source you're planning to build? I'd love to see what you're all thinking. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next secrets of the economy we uncover.